Today, I'd like to take you all on a trip down memory lane with me. These are some games that shaped me as a kid, and a few as an adult, broadening my horizons, testing my skills, and most of all, teaching me that video games are so much more than just a silly little pastime. I'm not quite sure how I came into possession of Twilight Princess. I definitely didn't know what Zelda was before I played it, but the atmosphere, wow. The whole thing was like one big glowy sunset dream. Riding Epona across the fields of Hyrule as the music swells up and then all of a sudden I find out you can transform into a wolf. I don't think I ever finished the game, but I did mostly enjoy many dozens of hours trying to figure out where I was and what was going on in this fever dream of an experience. And of course, we have one game that needs no introduction. It was released when I was 13, which made me extremely susceptible to time wasting, wandering around, and goofing off: Skyrim. This is where I discovered my love for both collecting as many side quests as possible and pickpocketing. Thieves Guild for life. Although the Dark Brotherhood was pretty sweet too. Probably my most played game ever after this next one. Any guesses? Ah yes, Minecraft, the game that taught me I may be a big dreamer, but I'm also extremely impatient. Every time I started up a new world, I'd have these huge plans for a sick underground base or elegant mansion. I'd spend the first few hours scouting out a location to build, oftentimes trekking for miles and miles over hazardous terrain. When I finally found the perfect spot, started laying down the foundations, planning out each room, an entryway, a storage room, greenhouse, or a farm, I'd quickly realized that I was in over my head and that I actually wanted to build something completely different. And so the cycle would repeat with me creating countless new worlds and never really fully exploring any of them. I think it was the lack of story or direction. I just wasn't very good at creating my own fun when the possibilities were as endless as they are in Minecraft. Thankfully, The Last of Us has a pretty good story, right? This game came with my PS4. I had no idea what to expect from it other than some zombies, and boy, was it an incredible game. Tense, claustrophobic moments followed by a huge sigh of relief as you finally guide Ellie and Joel to safety. For a little while, at least. Until I played this one, I had no idea that games could be so cinematic, emotional, that I could actually become attached to these fictional characters. But I was already well aware that games could be out-of-this-world bonkers. The Super Mario Galaxy games never ceased to amaze me with all their creative levels and gameplay ideas. I mean, tiny planets you can explore and jump between. Mario Odyssey is also great, but this is the game that kinda started it all. Man, Nintendo really did cook up some classics, didn't they? But sometimes all you need is something simple. All I have to do is climb to the top of this mountain, you say? Well, I did that all the time in Skyrim and Minecraft. They should be a piece of cake. A short hike isn't just a piece of cake though, it's the whole bakery. Warm, sweet, the perfect mixture of simple mechanics, funny characters, little side quests, and secrets to hunt for. Plus, it's a great jumping off point for people who aren't very familiar with video games. Because, well, what's not to love? It's cute, it's fun, it's quick, short hike. Hades was my first roguelike, and honestly it's really the only one I'll ever need. And I didn't need much convincing to play it. I was totally obsessed with Greek mythology as a kid, and the art style is so sick. But still, I was surprised with how much the gameplay loop captivated me. I mean, obviously it's because of the story and characters, the writing, but the pace at which you uncover information and story beats is perfect. Plus, the combat is flashy and fun, and finally working your way up to a new area after beating the boss that was stopping you, only to get absolutely stomped in the first area, truly a god-tier game. I spent about 90 hours getting all the achievements for Hades, but unfortunately couldn't bring myself to do the same for Hollow Knight. But I did have a very fun time exploring the depths of Hollow Nest, and I don't think another Metroidvania will ever come close to this level of perfection. I was always a bit nervous to start playing since I'd heard it be referred to as a Souls-like, but I do love me some platforming and backtracking and power-ups, so eventually I caved in and now here I am, waiting around for Silk Song with the rest of you fools. Finally, my most recent gaming revelation, I would say, had to be Resident Evil. I was never a horror hater, but it also never really spoke to me. I thought the genre was just full of cheap jump scares and overly dark rooms, scary monsters chasing you around just for the sake of it. I didn't know it could have puzzles and environmental storytelling and an overarching plot between installments. I started with the RE2 remake, which I think was a good choice. It's classic Resident Evil level design and combat, but with some modern updates, most notably the controls. But I eventually got my share of tank controls when I played RE1 and the original RE4 right afterwards. Now, I actually call myself a survival horror fan. I'm particularly fond of indie titles in that genre, of course, and I'm super glad I stepped outside my comfort zone that one fateful weekend in May last year. I'm sure I could go on with more games that have been influential in my life, but I gotta run. Please do feel free to share some of the games that have shaped you down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you.